I'm the Irish guy, and right, so the Premier League predictions are back. Game week 30, 31, I can't remember, but let's just see what I predict. And hit that subscribe button. Right, let's go. Newcastle 2, Tottenham 1. This is a monster game. A year ago, Tottenham traveled to Newcastle in very similar circumstances. Yes, Antonio Conte just stormed out the door in a huff, but both these clubs were in a race for Europe. Spurs found themselves 5-0 down after 21 minutes. It's almost a minor miracle that they only conceded one goal over the next hour and 10 minutes because, lads, this could have been 9-0. Lads, I have seen Spurs have some absolutely ridiculous, embarrassing moments, but that was their rock bottom. Being 5-0 down after 20 minutes, letting Jacob Murphy be hunting down his hat-trick goal after just 10 minutes of the match. It was a disgrace, a complete and utter farce. And lads, this isn't the first time Tottenham have made fools of themselves at St James's Park. Remember on the final day of the 15-16 season, Tottenham were on course to finish above Arsenal for the first time since Toy Story was in the cinema. All they needed was just 1 point at an already relegated Newcastle, and they instead lose 5-1 and slip to third. It was hopeless. An absolute disgrace. Those Tottenham players, they owe their travelling fans a performance on Saturday morning. Because if this is another Tyneside collapse, I reckon those supporters should be allowed to pop down into a dressing room to give each player a wonky haircut. I mean, we all know how millionaires are precious about their hair. This cannot be another Tottenham meltdown. It just can't. But I do think they will lose. Newcastle are going to go on another mini run now. I mean, 2 weeks ago, they had a home match at St James's Park. It was an early Saturday kickoff, and they pulled off an epic comeback against West Ham. I thought that 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday, that's not good for atmosphere, right? Half the stadium are only waking up at half time with their morning breakfast rolls still digesting in their stomachs. I mean, who wants to have a halftime beer at 1:15? Mixing that in with your bowl of Cocoa Pops you had 20 minutes before the match. Well, the atmosphere for the West Ham game was actually great. So I'm predicting a similar thing here, and yeah, I reckon Bruno Guimaraes is going to score twice, including a dramatic last-minute winner, with Son Heung-min scoring a breakaway goal for Spurs. But yeah, Newcastle win, and lads, if Tottenham win this match, then I will pour a yogurt in my eye. By the way, lads, I only skimmed it, but somebody keeps putting in the comments that I should, I don't know, do charitable forfeits? Like, what? Kissing a homeless man on the cheek? Maybe next week. Brentford 2, Sheffield United 0. Surely this has to be a Brentford win. Lads, the Bees fans have not seen their team win since the 10th of February. There's been no home wins since January. I mean, weirdly, home wins have been such a rarity at Brentford this season. They had 1 in October, 1 in November, 1 in December, 1 in January, and that's it. That is such a letdown. It's like an excited child waking up on Christmas morning to discover the Santa Claus has only left him 1 present. Just some cheap doorknob from IKEA. But this has to be a Brentford win. To be fair, the Bees have drawn the last 3 matches at home against tough opposition. So now that they're up against a demoralized bunch of wooden hamsters in the Sheffield United staff, this has to be a 2-0 win. Ivan Toney with both goals. Lads, if they don't win this match, if they somehow lose to Sheffield United, I will dunk a bucket of yellow paint over myself. Yeah, the last one was horrible. Burnley 0, Brighton 3. Burnley are toast. Vincent Kompany has clearly lost the plot. He has been this calm, serene manager who has kept his cool all season long, but in the last couple of weeks, he's finally snapped, like Ned Flanders when the hurricane blows down his house. Kompany, after winning the championship title last season and being shrouded with praise, plaudits, and hype, I mean, to such an extent where he's been shortlisted for the Chelsea job, where he had brainless egg McMuffins like me tipping him to be the next Manchester City coach. Hello, relax. I also said the same thing about Vieira. So now I'll be watching such a miserable, meek season where they have been in the relegation zone since the first week. It must be an awful fall back down to earth. You know how claustrophobic he must feel? He has literally been trapped in the relegation zone every single week of the season. Not for 1 minute has he even been given a breath of fresh air in 17. This must feel like being trapped in your uncle's basement for nearly a year, being forced to live on cobwebs and half-eaten custard creams that he charitably tosses down the stairs. I actually think that Burnley are just gonna give up now and finish bottom of the league, which would be a collapse. Lads, they haven't been bottom of the league since November, which is wild considering how few points they actually have on the board. I remember how awful that Burnley team were under Brian Laws. When they were relegated in 2010, they truly did feel like an absolute mess. They had a home match with newly rich Man City and found themselves 4-0 down after 20 minutes. Yeah, they lost 6-1, and weirdly, Bellamy and Kompany were on the score sheet. Imagine telling those two that they would one day be overseeing a relegation in the Burnley dugout. It would be like me to think a mega successful celebrity like Tom Cruise. I mean, he's going to be cleaning vomit out of a microwave at Costa Coffee when he's 70. But my point is, that Burnley team, who I thought were dreadful, they still put 30 points on the board that season. This Burnley team are going to get nowhere near that. It's just sad. I tipped them to finish 9th. And yeah, Brighton will smack them up 3-0 with ease. They'll dominate the possession stats. I mean, if they don't have at least 60% of the ball. And I will eat a bowl of Frosties that have been covered in ketchup. Yuck! 3-0, João Pedro hat-trick next. Man City 2, Luton 0. Look, I know I did a Premier League title predictions video where I think I said that Man City would win this match 5-0, but I have tipped Luton for a lot of hammerings this season, and they don't usually get them. Like last week, I thought that Arsenal would stomp all over them, as if they were a hotel for mosquitoes. Now, it was a respectable 2-0. Rob Edwards has Luton set up to avoid humiliations. I thought they'd have lost 6-0 at least a couple of times by now. Not only have tiny little Luton not conceded 6 in one match, they haven't even conceded 5. They also haven't actually lost a match by 4 goals all season long. That's really impressive, as is their ability to always get on the score sheet. I mean, that defeated Arsenal. That was the only time in the last 20 matches, dating all the way back to an early November trip to Old Trafford, where they have not scored. I don't think they'll score here though. They will barely touch the ball, but I'm gonna go for a dignified 2-0 loss. Bernardo Silva with both goals. Honestly lads, if Luton lose this game by 5 or more goals, and I will pour a bucket of steaming hot chocolate over my face. Nottingham Forest 0, Wolves 1. So here we have Nuno Santo welcoming his old club to Nottingham Forest for the most awkward lunch date. Lads, let's get it right. Santo is a far better manager than Gary. Actually, you know what? No. I am going to try and make it through at least one predictions video without slagging off Gary. You know who I mean. The little mouse who must not be named. Because right now, I do just sound like a bitter scorned ex who just wants to make themselves feel better by hurling a rock through their bathroom window at 4 a.m. Okay, I'm not going to make this about, that man, but I think Forest are worried. The threat of relegation is a very real one right now, and I think the pressure is going to freeze their players. Yes, on paper, they should absolutely be able to beat Wolves. Well, Wolves are on the beach. They have no pressure. They can just relax. Yes, this is a club who are probably a bit embarrassed whenever they see Morgan Gibbs-White doing so well, considering they stupidly cashed in when they definitely should have built the Wolves team around him. Right now, he should be their captain, but I reckon this is going to be a 1-0 Wolves win. No pressure at all. Pablo Sarabia netting the winning penalty. Dreadful result for Forest. Bournemouth 2, Man United 1. Yeah, Manchester United fans are going to feel angry about this one. I'm tipping him to lose to Bournemouth. What a horrible, stupid prediction, right?
How dare he?
Yeah. The Cherries did leave Old Trafford with a 3-0 win earlier in the season. Has everybody forgotten about that? Lads, a Bournemouth win here will put Andoni Iraola just 5 points behind Eric Ten Hag in mid-April. Can everyone finally start putting some respect on his name? I don't think a Cherries win over Man United at home is insane at all. It's something they seem to do every 4 years or so, like in December 2015 and November 2019. They are due another home win over Man United. Absolutely. I'm going to go for another sloppy display from Man United. They'll take the lead in the second half through an Anthony strike after 57 minutes, but then they'll get nervous. Harry Maguire will stupidly slice into his own net after 77 minutes before it's all set up for Justin Kluivert to punish the club who are sniffing around him while he was a sprightly kid at Ajax. Honestly, Jose Mourinho was obsessed with signing him. Yeah, 4 years later, and he finally got his hands on this young Dutch winger at Roma and decided he didn't actually want him, loaning him out like a soggy cheeseburger. I reckon he scores a fine solo goal. The winning goal. Lads, I thought he would flop this season, but he's been good. I know he hasn't been capped by Haaland since he was a teenage boy in 2018. I know he's just seen as the Dutch Tom Ince, but I don't think it's out of the question for him to get a call up to Euro 2024. He's been great. And yes, this is a Bournemouth match where I haven't actually tipped Luis Sinisterra to score a goal. I swear, if he scores now, Liverpool 3, Crystal Palace 0. Look, I know that Liverpool were absolutely humble in the Europa League at home, but you know what? They probably deserved that. There was a large portion of Liverpool fans, you know who you are, Craig from Anfield Agenda, who almost thought that the Europa League final in Dublin was an inevitability for them. People were already making plans for the final, trying to get their hands on tickets several rounds before they even got there. They were acting like they were already in the final. Liverpool fans would have already bought tickets for Dublin. They'll have already booked hotels. I realise this Liverpool team are too good for the Europa League. Yes, they are. But lads, there's been a lot of teams who are Champions League standard who were thrust into this lowly competition, and guess what? They didn't reach the final either. Like the amazing star-studded AC Milan side of 2002, and to a lesser extent, 2009. What about Ronaldinho's Barcelona in 2004? Bayern Munich's title winners of 2008. Both brilliant Manchester clubs in 2012. Antonio Conte's Serie A dominating Juventus side of 2014. Carlo Ancelotti's brilliant Napoli in 2019. Xavi's title-winning Barcelona side of 2022. Xabi Alonso's excellent Bayer Leverkusen team in 2023. All the teams I just mentioned were arguably better than the current Liverpool one, and they all crashed out before the final. This is a difficult competition to win. Losing 3-0 at home to Atalanta is not a total shock because, remember when Atalanta left Anfield with a 2-0 win in the Champions League less than 4 years ago? This is not a complete surprise. But don't worry, you will get back to winning ways by smashing up Crystal Palace with ease. 3-0. But honestly, lads, next time you're in the Europa League, please don't start making plans for the final in March. West Ham 0, Fulham 1. This is going to be a rough week for West Ham. A really dreadful, horrible few days. They've just endured a grueling, energy-sapping, demoralizing Europa League night where they were chasing shadows against an incredible Leverkusen all night long. A Leverkusen team who are still on course to win a treble without losing a single match in any competition. I'm sorry, but if that happens, then Alonso, he must be treated as some sort of alien. That absolutely shatters Arsenal's invincible record, because when you start including all the competitions, they actually lost 6 games that season. 2 against Middlesbrough. I mean, they were a tense 9-8 penalty shootout away from losing at home to 10-man Rotherham. To be fair, there were so many Arsenal youngsters taking penalties in that match, likes of Usu, Abe, Smith, and Spicer. If the penalty shootout went on any longer, I'm not expecting to see Jeremy Lynch's name. But yeah, that was a tough game against a brilliant German side this week. And now I think the West Ham players are going to be wrecked. Smash and grab 1-0 win. Brian McBride with the winner. Oh wait, no, it's not 2004. I don't know. Hardy Wilson free kick. Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 1. Yeah, pretty simple. Both sides had big European matches this week, so tiredness won't come into this, and if it does, well, Arsenal will have had 2 days more rest. So yeah, Ollie Watkins will probably get on the score sheet as he's having an absolute freak of a season. But relax, okay? He's just a slightly quicker Darren Bent. But yeah, 3-1 Arsenal win. Pretty comfortable. Chelsea 4, Everton 0. Look, Everton having 2 more points scraped off the board again. Not only is that a joke, making an absolute mockery of the league table. I mean, they've been dragged up and down the league so much outside of matches. You'd swear this was their very own private game of snakes and ladders. Lads, I know I should want Everton to pull off some results, climb away from the relegation zone, and stop me fretting over the price of milk. But I think Chelsea are getting their act together. They haven't lost a league matches 7 games, and Pochettino's boys do score goals. I mean, considering Everton are as blunt as a melted candle, I even think this will be Chelsea's first clean sheet in over 3 months. Honestly, lads, for every goal that Everton do score, then I will rub a pineapple on my face. But yeah, Cole Palmer will net a couple, alongside goals from Malagusto and Nunny Madwake. And strangely, yeah, 4-0 Chelsea win. Anyway, that's the video. Let me know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your predictions? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, guys. I'll talk to you in a while.